Oops. Oh no, that's not good. That's not good at all. Hello there. I am back with another beautiful guitar to review here today. I got this earlier this year and it's been sitting around, and I've made some cosmetic modifications to it, but I haven't changed anything that would affect the sound on it. Let's get right into it. It's a Harley Benton. I've never tried a Harley Benton before. I found one online from Thomann out of Germany. This is it. It's really a pretty guitar, man. It's a really beautiful guitar. It's an SC 500 WH vintage series. It's basically like a Les Paul custom from like the 70s, let's say. And the reason I got this was because I'm a fan of Randy Rhoads. I grew up listening to his stuff, and he was an inspirational guitarist for me. And I saw this guitar one night. I was like, hey man, that reminds me of the one Randy Rhoads had. So I was like, hey, let's see what it costs. This guitar, pretty thing that it is, $155 US, $155. It's one of those that's almost too low to believe. Right. So $155 gets you this guitar, but because I live in the US, I had to have it shipped here, which was another $91. So the total on this thing was $246. Still, even with that extra shipping, which was 2/3 the cost of the guitar, still a killer deal. Here, to put it into perspective here, this $155 beautiful Les Paul ripoff, Epiphone's closest competitor to it is $800. And I didn't want to spend $800 on a guitar that I got just because I liked the way it looked. It's rare that I'm not pragmatic about buying a guitar. When I look at a guitar, it's like, oh, I can use that for this purpose or that purpose. I can record with it. I can play it live. I can use it for this or that. I just like the way it looked. The only guitar Gibson proper is selling right now that looks like this is a custom shop, and it is $5,800. I don't know if all my guitars combined are worth $5,800. That's way out of my league. $6,000. You're talking about a down payment on a car right there. That's just, would I even play a $6,000 guitar out live? I'd be afraid, I'd hit a mic stand or something with it. I bought it online in December of 2023. I got it here in February of 2024. I didn't mind. I didn't buy it because I needed it tomorrow. I was like, okay, I can wait. Similar story now, though. If you go to Thomann's site, you'll see that it is on a 8 to 10 week back order. I did make some cosmetic modifications to it to make it look a little more like Randy Rhoads' Les Paul. I got little knob pointers on it here, like were on his. I got rid of the black knobs and got these gold speed knobs. I got rid of the white knob cover and put a cream one on it, and got the gold rhythm treble identifier thingy here. Is it a professional guitar? Not so much. It's not one I'm going to play out tonight. It's not one I'm probably going to record with. I'm not going to modify it a lot. I just like the way it looks. That's why I got it. So it's obviously a Les Paul copy. It's a basswood body, and yeah, I finally figured bass, not basswood. It's basswood, not basswood. I like basswood because they make basses out of them, but it's technically basswood, so that's what we go with, basswood. Like the fish, not the bass. Okay, it's good. White arch top. Yep, arch top, just like you would expect on a Les Paul. It's mostly Les Paul specs. There are a couple variations, and I'll mention those. But the binding is good. It's not great. It's honestly about what I would expect from a $150 guitar. It's a little imperfect where they cut for the binding. If I was paying, $6,000, I would not accept this. But for what it is, You know, it's not perfectly, you know, to the seam here. I mean, it's a $250 guitar. This is what you get. It looks good from, you know, 2 feet away and further probably. Once you get really, you know, once you put your eyes real close to it, you see little imperfections. And I do mean little imperfections. There's nothing big wrong with the way that it looks or the way that it's finished. It's finished really nice. It's a gloss finish. It's not a super like thick gloss finish, which again, $250. I wouldn't expect them to put, you know, 10 pounds of lacquer on this thing. So, all right, let's get into the neck specs. And this is where things get just a little sketchy, a little questionable, because some of the descriptions of this guitar from the website are vague. The fretboard is described as blackwood. I looked up blackwood, and blackwood is an African wood, and this is not an African blackwood. The actual name of it is Pinus radiata. That's what they had on the website. I'm like, you call it blackwood, which it's not, and then you actually put like the scientific name for it, which is really weird. So I looked that up, and that's a California pine. Now it seems a little odd to me that they would be importing California pine in China to put it on a guitar and bring it back here. I think it might just be some type of dyed pine, you know, and don't be vague with us, guys. Just tell us what it is. Including shipping, it's a $250 guitar that came all the way around the world to get to me. Just tell me what it is. I'm not going to like, oh, I'm not getting it because of that. So don't try and hide things, because it looks worse when you try and hide them than telling us what it actually is. So, you know, just clue us in. C-shaped neck. This is not a speed neck. This one's a little thicker than what I've been talking about on some of the Super Strats that I've been reviewing lately. It's not a real heavy, thick neck, but it is more C-shaped. It's more rounded. It's less flat, and it feels fine. It feels great. It's not too thick. I'm not a fan of thick necks, and this one, just fine. It's got a gloss finish on the back of it, just like the rest of the body, but it's not sticky. Well, it's bound. A bound neck, $250 guitar. I mean, that one thing I've noticed with bound necks is I have less trouble with fret sprout because of the bound necks. So, jumbo frets too, man. They are nice chunky frets, man. I like them. I like them a lot. Radius on the neck is 13.77 inches. It's 350 millimeters. And that's a little bigger than your standard Les Paul. It's closer to 14 inches than it is 12, which would be standard for Les Paul. I don't think it makes that much of a difference in the world. It's not like it's 16 inches. It's not like it's super flat, but it's a little flatter. And I would just imagine they pick some happy medium and probably do a lot of their fretboards at that radius. So 22 frets, standard for a Les Paul. 24 3/4 inch scale, standard for a Les Paul. 43 millimeter nut, also standard. On the Epiphone that I looked at, the $800 one, they actually listed it as a little smaller on the custom Les Paul, the $7,800 one or whatever. The expensive one was 42.8 something. I mean, we're talking fractions of millimeters now, so 43 millimeters is going to be pretty standard. So again, we're talking Les Paul specs here. One thing I can say about it that it's kind of cool is some of the imperfections, and again, these are major small. These are tiny imperfections. They almost make it look like it's been played a bit. You know, it's been used a bit. So double action truss rod, which based on the last few reviews I've done seems to be the standard these days. Even in an inexpensive guitar, they're putting double action truss rods in them. Let's get into some more of the little sketchier specs here. The pickups are humbuckers, obviously. But on the website, they just call them vintage style pickups. They don't say what they are. They don't say what kind of magnets they have in them, which leads me to believe they don't want us to know, which is more than likely that they're ceramic. The pickups sound fine to me. They're not like the greatest pickups ever made, but it would be nice, again, Harley Benton, if you would just say what they are. If they're ceramic, say they're ceramic. If they're Alnico 5, say they're Alnico 5. Don't do this well, they're vintage pickups. I'm like, what does that even mean? They're vintage pickups. They're probably, medium output, fine, whatever, but why don't you just tell us what it is instead of hiding the information? Typical Les Paul controls, 3-way switch, 4 knobs, 2-tone, 2-volume, 1-volume tone for each pickup. There is no coil splitting, no extra flippy floppy switches, nothing at all. It's a very straightforward guitar. And I appreciate that. I think that's really cool. You can still buy a very straightforward guitar. And that's perhaps one of the reasons why it costs less, because they don't have the extra wiring. They don't take the extra time to put the flippy switches in there. I like it. I like a basic guitar. I mean, I'll take a fancy guitar too, but a basic guitar any day. 2-pneumatic bridge, just fine. I noticed a couple of nicks already on the tailpiece here. For what it is, it's fine. And again, those nicks make it look used a little more. It's going to look like it's been out and banged around a little bit. People pay extra to have stuff made look bad these days. So, yeah, whatever. It's going to be relicked because I'm going to play it. It's just going to get naturally relicked. The tuning pegs have been good. I think they're honestly better than the Kramer that I reviewed recently. This guy right here. Yeah, I put it in tune, it stays there. Short term, right out of the box, this thing, killer. Killer deal. Plays just fine. Setup was good out of the box. Intonation, everything. This is a playable guitar. Easy. No neck issues, no electronic issues. Minor problems with the finish that I would expect for a $250 guitar. This is a great guitar for modding. I don't plan on doing that with this particular one, but again, you got a good neck, you got a good body. Good to go, man. Let's do some ratings. 5 out of 10 to start with, as usual. +1 for the price, though. $250 with shipping. I don't know how you can beat that. Setup from the factory, +1. For a $250 guitar, I expect to have to do a full setup myself, and I didn't. So that's 7. I'm going to give a +1 for the look, even though I've got some issues with some of the finishing stuff. But the way this thing looks, man, I mean, the electronics, the pickups, no, I'm not going to give a +1 for that because I don't know what they are. They're fine, but I can't give a +1 for not knowing what they are. I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to say the same thing for the neck here. I was considering giving them a -1 for just not telling us what things are. Let us know. I'm obviously aggravated by this. That's an 8 out of 10. That's where I'm going to sit on this one. I'm good with that. It is, if you're a beginner, it's a good guitar. If you're sitting around the house playing, it's a good guitar. Would I play this guitar out tonight? Probably not. I would use it as a backup tonight. Out of the box even, I would use it as a backup. But tell you what I will probably do on this thing, I'll probably write some songs on it. You pick up a guitar that inspires you for whatever reason, you're going to do some things on it you wouldn't have done with a different guitar. So that's what we're going to do with this guy, 8 out of 10. Now, Harley Benton, this is my first experience with Harley Benton. It took forever to get it. $90 to ship it. I knew what I was getting into. That's not a problem for me. But my first experience with Harley Benton has been good. I like it. I enjoy it. I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to play it. And I think those are the important things. It's playable. Thank you very much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to keep making these things as long as I keep getting guitars, and I hope they help a little bit at least. And the thing I always say is please keep making music because that's what this is all about. So do, yeah. You go, hey man, that looks a little like Randy Rhoads' guitar did. Hey, that's cool. Hang on. Water, you gotta have water. Breathe in the air. Yeah, okay. Interrupting my monologue. All right, and now I'm getting texted. This is great, I need to turn this off. Okay. Let's do math. Take it back, do it again, try it one more time. We're just gonna start over. I'm wasting so much time here today. It's stupid.